Robotics, which is a student from Mexico, I think. What about your team? How many people are involved in Shape Robotics?
Yeah, so at the moment we are 27 people or so. It's we have an office in the Copenhagen area. This is sort of where most of us are at, around 20 people or so. That's also where we have some of our production. And then we have an office in Odense, which is another city in Denmark, with very strong robotics relations to this robotics cluster. And then we have a colleague in Dubai, a colleague in London, and then we have 2 new colleagues in Romania as well. So we have a very strong team with many people coming from, for example, from Lego, with much experience from Lego, because it is a main competitor of ours. So it's really good to have these kinds of skills on board.
Right. So you told me you have Romanian colleagues. That brings me to the next question. How did you learn, and how did you come here?
Yeah. So actually, a few years back, we started a collaboration with a Romanian company called StoryKids about reselling our robots into Romania. So
right,
we have 54 partners, and one of them is at a Romanian company. So we've been working closely with Mark and Elena from StoryKids for several years, and then this year it just started to accelerate a lot, with really many good opportunities, really a strong synergy between 2 companies. We could see there was a big opportunity to do robotics in Romania, into Romanian schools, and we really wanted to invest in the country. We really wanted to get into the country, have our foot on the ground, and understand the schools, how they work. And so we were looking to hire people in Romania, maybe create a subsidiary here. But then it made a lot of sense because of the strong synergies with StoryKids to actually do an acquisition of the 2 companies.
Right. You said something about opportunities as far as robotics in Romania. That's very interesting because not many people know how developed this field is right here. Can you maybe?
So I think it's really about ambition. So what we can see and hear is that the politicians of Romania are extremely ambitious when it comes to making sure that the new generation have the right kind of skills. They have the learning STEM education between science, technology, engineering, and math. They get technical skills like learning to program, being innovative, creating new kind of products with technologies. And we can hear that the government wants to invest in these kinds of things, and this is of course an interesting opportunity for us.
That's very interesting what you just said. Romanian politicians being ambitious. That's very interesting, but that's another discussion. We won't go there. Anyway, this morning we've been at a very interesting event. It's was called SMARTLAM Bucov, right?
Yes.
Which is basically a project that brings new last generation devices and tools for kids ranging somewhere between 8 to 15 years. Yeah. I think there are several labs like this. Maybe you could tell us more.
So so this lab here in Bucov is something we have done together with Inaugo. So Andreea and Paul from Inaugo is sort of the mastermind behind the smart labs, and we are very happy to be their partner in this process to actually create a smart lab in Bucov. So the idea is to have basically you take a classroom in a school, and then you fill it up with these kinds of technologies that can inspire the children to learn 21st century skills. So you have computers, you have screens, you have robots from our company, you have 3D printers for them to design things and 3D print. You have VR glasses, and you have 3D scanners and many things, so that the children they can be exposed to the new technology and learn the new skills. So
that's very interesting. Because as far as I know, SmartLab Bucov and the other labs, they're destined for rural area, right?
So I think this is the first one in the rural area.
The first one?
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to figure, you mentioned VR glasses and headsets, right? Yeah. And I'm trying, just to bring these pictures together, Romanian rural area and VR glasses. Yes. and kind of, doesn't add up.
But for me, it really does, because all these technologies are made for being super easy to get started with. But they have what we like to call, low floor, easy to get started with, high ceiling, because you can really, if you have ambitions, if you try and work hard, you can do whatever you want. And white walls, because it supports many different kind of activities, many different kinds of motivations and interests for the students. So this is a, even if you don't have many skills in computer, even if you're not certain about what a robot is and how it works, you very very quickly learn, because it has this kind of low floor.
Okay, do you have, when it comes to rural and urban areas and systems, let's say systems of education in Denmark, do you have like these big of gaps as you find here?
I think this is one of the big differences between the educational system of Denmark and in Romania. So what I can understand is that in Romania there is a big gap between rural area and more high-end city schools, urban schools, or maybe even private schools. In Denmark we don't have this difference. So all schools are more or less equally good. Of course they're not equally good, but they are more or less equally good. It doesn't matter much if you are in a city school in Copenhagen, or if you are in the outskirts of Jutland, which is a rural area. It's you can grow up in any school, you can go to any high school, you can even go to any university, and you have the same opportunities in life. You can get the same kind of job. You can become the CEO of Lego, or you can become something different, whatever you want to be. It doesn't matter where you go to school, because they all have a high level.
Right.
Maybe not as good as the best levels. To be honest, I think no schools in Denmark are at the level that the best schools in Romania are. No schools in Denmark are at the level that the best schools in Romania are. Well, but they are all pretty good.
I think you're being nice to say that, but no.
Honestly, I don't.
Well, you told me earlier about having Romanian colleagues, and I was going to ask. We have this phenomenon here. I'm sure you've heard about it, maybe. We have good students and professionals in IT, and in the last years they're even very well paid, comparing to the Romanian economy. However, many of them are still leaving, to work abroad, study abroad, maybe even start businesses abroad. What do you think about that? As, from a foreigner's, founder of a robotic firm perspective?
Yes, I think it's extremely sad that so many Romanians are leaving Romania. I can also see the statistics that many people are leaving Romania, and I met many Romanian people in Denmark, many really bright students at the university where I used to teach, or being hired into our company. So much talent.
Yes.
That we are fortunate enough to be able to attract to Denmark, but it's of course not fortunate for Romania that they're leaving. So I will give you a little bit of perspective. So in Denmark we almost have the opposite problem, because many students, and so very often the politicians are trying to do things to push the students to actually go abroad more. I mean, come back, but go abroad, get the international experience, because it's so important. But it's not enough. I mean, many Danish students, they don't want to go abroad for whatever reason. I think maybe it's also a cultural thing. I think if you know many people who are going abroad, if you know that they're being successful and they recommend you to go abroad, I think you will tend to do the same. So I think this is part of the explanation for why so many Romanians are leaving. Of course, there's also something about opportunities.
Yes.
Can you get the interesting job, or is it more interesting to get it somewhere else? Can you see yourself raising a family in Romania?
Right. Exactly.
Or would it be better to go to Denmark to raise a family? So I think these are the kind of questions that of course the people in Romania ask themselves.
Exactly. Well, I would like to go back to Shape Robotics a little bit. As I was looking upon the website, I saw Fable, which is a nice name.
Yeah.
For a robot.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a robot designed for education, And I was, just curious myself, and I think everybody is curious.
Yeah.
How does it work?
Well, so it's a modular robot, so it means it's kind of like these kind of big white modules. It has magnetic connectors. You snap them together and you quickly build different kinds of things. So it makes it easy for the students and for the teachers to create different kinds of robots very quickly. And it's not just robots. It is robots that is very close to what you would find in industry or service robots. So it's fairly much a real robot that you can then program to do what you kind of imagine it to do. So, and the way you program it, you pull these kind of puzzle pieces together, and they click together like puzzle pieces very easily on a screen. So even a third grader or a second grader can program the robot. And then when you come to high school, you program it with a textual programming like language like Python, for example.
Yes.
So you can learn about AI and more detailed things about robotics. So it's a system that we have designed for being inspiring the kids to be creative, for being attractive both for the girls and the boys. So it's not always only the boys that wants to work with robots.
Is it like Transformers?
It is. I mean, I used to do research in Transformers, right?
Yeah.
Because because these self-reconfigurable robots, they are really Transformers. So they crawl around each other, build a new robot. So you have something that transforms from a snake to a car to whatever.
Right.
And in this case, they don't transform themselves, but the kids can transform them. So you could say together with the kids, playing around, building different kinds of things, imagining things. It is kind of a transformer.
Right. That's great. I would like to go back a little bit to your partners in Romania, Story Kids. Yeah. You told me about Story Kids and starting a venture, basically, joint venture. What can you tell us about this
collaboration? So it's of course it's a collaboration where we come in as a foreign country and invest in this company. So we are together addressing the Romanian school education system. We are very educational, both companies, very focused on helping the children achieve more in their lives. So Story Kids has for many years developed this together with Inaco, this concept of smart labs, these technology rooms. They have also developed technology for online learning, something called School Flicks, where Romanian children, they can go in and then they can train themselves for some of the big exams that you have and learn mathematics and Romanian and so forth. And we see a lot of potential in this technology. We can really see how we can use that in other places of the world as well. So going in, investing in developing school plates, investing in together with our partners, developing the smart labs in Romania. So this is the type of collaboration that we have. Both companies really trying to do the best for the children.
It's great. David, I thank you very much for being with us. If you just want to add anything about your activity?
No, I mean, I hope, I mean, we are here for good. We are going to be in Romania for, as long as for the facility, as long as Shape Robotics exists. So I'm very much looking forward to visiting again in a few years to give you an update on what it's been doing.
That's great. We wish you guys the best of luck with Shape Robotics, with the smart labs and everything. Vă mulțumim foarte mult că ne-ați urmărit, în special pe David Christensen, care încă o dată este CEO și co-founder al Shape Robotics, o firmă despre care veți mai auzi multe, mai ales că, așa cum a spus și el, au intrat pe piața din România împreună cu partenerilor de aici și suntem convinși că vor face valuri tot mai mari în acest domeniu al roboticii, care sperăm să capete o importanță tot mai mare și aici. Vă mulțumim că ne-ați urmărit. La revedere!